Welcome to another episode of Life Mastery. My name is Elvis Pasek, and today I'm going to be guiding you along the journey of different healing modalities, different healing techniques. Some of these were discovered a very long time ago, and some of these are more modern discoveries that we can use to supercharge our growth and really start living from a higher plane of existence, start living from those positive emotions versus those negative emotions. Basically, what it comes down to is what we're healing is this energetic frequency that is weighing us down, that is causing us to vibrate at that low frequency, which is the 3D reality versus the 4D reality and the 5D reality. So what we want to do is we want to get to the root cause of this issue that we're dealing with, whatever it is that's going on. So healing basically comes down to energetic release, and that's what we're going to be working on. So to understand a little bit more about healing and energy release, we must know that we actually have 4 different bodies, not just this physical body that we see, but we have 4 bodies. It starts with the physical, and then it goes into the mental, and then it goes into the emotional, and then into the energetic. There are actually 7 layers that go further out from the energetic, but that's not relevant for this podcast. For now, what you need to know is that these 4 bodies are what's required for healing. Now, they're all connected, but it always ends at the energetic body. So we need to work inside out. It starts in the physical, and then in the mental, and then in the emotional, and then in the energetic. So if it's not dealt with in the physical, if it's not dealt with in the mental, if it's not dealt with in the emotional, then it's going to end up in the energetic, and that's where it gets stuck. That's where we feel it. So the physical body that we have is pretty much everything we see. So the skin, the bones, the muscles, the organs, and everything else associated with the physical body. That's the physical. Now the mental is our thinking mind. This is the masculine energy. And then the next is the emotional. This is the more feminine energy. And it's all about the emotions that we experience in the body. And then finally, the energetic. This is our connection to a deeper part of ourselves. That's our energetic body. This body is what connects us to the physical and the spiritual. That's why it's kind of right in the middle of the 7, which align with the 7 chakras and also align with the auras that some people can see. So a lot of these techniques come from Chinese and Indian descents. The traditional Chinese medicine works with what they call Qi, which is life energy basically. So they're working on the energetic realm. They just call it Qi, but essentially they're working on the energetic, which they know is connected to the emotional, the mental, and the physical. So all those are connected, but if you can start on the energetic, then it's so much easier to heal. And in India, they call it Ayurveda, which basically means knowledge of life. So they've figured out these different natural ways of healing a person. They understand that there is this energetic body, and they also, for the most part, start with the energetic body. Some of these will be more physical, some mental, some emotional, but for the most part, like I said, it's all connected, but for the most part, what we're trying to do is get to the deep root cause of it, which is in the energetic. So there are a few basics that I just want to go over that if you just implement these into your life, then you're going to vibrate at a higher frequency naturally. And these, yes, they do have healing properties to them, but I think every single human being needs to implement these things if they want to be the best versions of themselves. Now, these are just basics. They're not meant to be healing modalities by themselves, but like I said, they do have healing properties. So implement these into your life, and you'll see that overall your life will be better, and you'll start healing. And as you implement these into your life, you'll start moving on to deeper healing modalities. The first one is JERF. JERF stands for just eat real food. Just eat real food. None of that processed bullshit. Find real food and eat it. Now, I know not everything is going to work with everybody, so that's why you have to be your own science experiment. You have to figure out what works for you. You have to figure out how different food makes you feel. You can obviously supercharge this by getting different tests to see if you're allergic to anything that you may not have noticed, or if your body reacts negatively to something that you eat. So you can definitely take these tests, these food sensitivity tests, and see what works best for you. But basically just eat real food and see how it makes you feel. Don't eat that processed bullshit, because we all know it's not good for us. Next is exercise or some form of movement. Usually when people think about exercise, they think it's so fucking hard, but in reality, you just want to move. Like, you just want to move your body. We're meant to be moving. We're not meant to just fucking sit on our asses for 8 hours a day and then sleep for 7 to 8 hours a day. And then the rest of the time we're usually spent sitting. So we need to get moving. We need movement in our lives. Our bodies can't thrive if they're not moving. So you use it or lose it, right? If we're not moving our bodies, we're not using our bodies, then we're eventually, when we get older, we're going to be hunched over. We're not going to have a lot of energy. We're just going to be in worse condition. So take care of your body by moving it. You need to get the juices flowing. You need to get that energy flowing. So if we're stagnant, the energy can't flow. If you're moving, that's when the energy starts flowing. And the whole point of healing is to get the energy moving. And the next one kind of ties in with that. It's stretching or yoga or both. They're different types of things, and mobility. So all of those also have to do with movement, but we're moving in strategic ways to maximize these results. So different yoga poses, different stretches. And what this does is this clears up that energy again. It gets it moving, gets that stuck energy moving. And that's the whole point of this. And then you also want to meditate. So if you meditate, what you're doing is you're just slowing down that thinking mind, that mental body. You're slowing that down and you're becoming more of the present moment. So coming back into the energetic versus staying in the mental. And you also want to get out into nature. We're meant to be surrounded by nature. Where we are now is we have all these electrical frequencies coming at us that aren't necessarily good for us. There's a book called The Rainbow Effect, and it talks about how when energy was first discovered and they started adding these electrical poles and all this stuff, the people that started working on them started seeing results that are very aligned with a lot of the ailments that we see nowadays. And that was just the beginning of that electrical discovery. So you can imagine how it's like now compared to what it was back then. So it affects us even more than what they mention about in that book. And going out in nature definitely gets us connected to that natural state that we're meant to be in. So it's all about slowing down. Just like with meditation, you're wanting to slow down the mind, which brings me to my next point. I know it may sound weird, but really think about how you're breathing. Are you breathing through the nose? Or are you breathing through the mouth throughout the day? You should be breathing through the nose for the most part. When you breathe through the nose, this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. This is when we're resting. But on the flip side of that, if you breathe through the mouth, then you activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight system, which a lot of people are already stuck in. A lot of people are stuck in the fight or flight. That's why they're always so fucking stressed, is because they're stuck in that sympathetic nervous system. They don't know how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So make sure you're breathing through the nose and then breathing into your belly, not just your chest. So those are pretty much the basics of healing, of vibrating at a higher frequency. If you do those on a daily basis, you're naturally going to increase your frequency and you're going to start vibrating from a 4D reality versus 3D reality. Now we're going to get into the ancient and modern healing techniques. Now all of these modalities that I'm about to get into and that I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to go fully in depth on all of these and what they do. I just want to give you a list so you can go and do your own research and try out these things on your own. Now, everything that I'm about to mention is something that I've personally done and I've personally dealt with in my life, and I know it's beneficial, so that's why I'm able to share it. I'm not going to share something that I don't know if it works or not through personal experience. So everything that I share is through personal experience, and I can guarantee you that if you try all of these, then one of them is going to stick. Now, some of these may work for you, some may not, but the only way to find out is to actually do it. And some of these, when you do them, you may not notice the benefits right away, but you'll see as time goes on, you'll look back on it and realize that these certain things that have happened in your life are specifically tied to that healing session that you went to. And even if you don't notice any benefits, just know that energetically it's working. And just know that whatever is going on, as long as you're doing these exercises or these techniques, then you know you're helping yourself heal. You may not notice it on the physical, you may not notice it on the mental, you may not notice it on the emotional, but just know that on the energetic level, it is working and it is helping you heal and vibrate at a higher frequency. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect to see some magic results overnight. just because you've done one of these. But if you continue doing all of these and add some here and there, do one here, do one next year, do one next month, whatever, if you continue doing that, then you will eventually see those results that you're after. And some of these you may have heard of before, some you may have not. So I urge you to look up most of these, or all of these preferably, and see which one you're kind of attracted to and which one you can implement into your life. So the next one is counterintuitive to what I just mentioned earlier about nose breathing. This is actually called upregulated breathing. This is when you breathe in and out through the mouth in order to activate the sympathetic nervous system. You're wanting to activate the fight or flight system, but you're doing this intentionally. You're not doing this throughout your day. You're sitting down and intentionally breathing in and out through your mouth so you can activate this fight or flight response. So then you have the opportunity to calm yourself down. You have the opportunity to learn how to relax in stressful experiences and stressful situations. So yes, breathing through your mouth is not good unless you're working on actively healing, unless you're working on doing some kind of upregulated breath work that is meant to activate that response, so then you can deal with it head on, so then you can actually be in control of this fight or flight system. You're not letting it just control you, you're actually actively participating in letting it calm down. So upregulated breathwork, highly recommended. Now the next one is called trauma release exercise. What this is you go through a few different exercises that aren't necessarily tough, but they get your energy moving in a way that will allow you to experience some kind of tremoring in either your legs or your entire body. And as you go through these exercises, you're activating different parts, and when you get to the end, you're basically laying on your back with your feet flat on the ground and your knees bent. And eventually you get to a point where you start feeling this tremoring in your legs or your body, like I said. The next one is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. This one is usually meant for some deeper traumas, for example, like PTSD and stuff like that. CBT is meant to go deeper within those and allow you to deal with that kind of trauma. Now the next one is called emotional freedom technique, EFT. This one is basically tapping. There are different parts on your face and also underneath your armpit and your collarbone here. And as you're tapping these different points, you're saying a specific phrase. Now this is meant to work on something very specific. So if you know what you want to work on, EFT will work great for you. If there's something very specific that you know you want to work on, EFT will most likely help you do that. And this is basically reprogramming your subconscious. This is what EFT does, is it reprograms your subconscious. So if you're having a negative thought, you can use EFT to eradicate that negative thought if you're having trouble doing it just by replacing it with a positive thought. And the next one is a little bit more challenging, but it is one of the best ways to get into a very, very deep meditative state. And these are called OSHO dynamic meditations. OSHO is a spiritual guru, I guess you could call him, who came up with this idea of implementing movement and meditation. So there are different exercises that you do in this Osho meditation. Most of them are about an hour long. There's maybe 4 or 5 different phases of the meditation. And some of them are challenging, so it makes you push past your comfort zone and really get into it. And you spend the last 15-20 minutes just sitting down and meditating, and by the time you go through all of that and you sit down to meditate, you're just already in a deep meditative state. Where if you don't do any of that and you just sit down and meditate, it's going to take you a while to get into that deep meditative state. So Osho's dynamic meditations help you get there, help you go even deeper with your meditations. Now the next one is called Bioenergetics. I personally love doing Bioenergetics just because it feels really good and I can feel it working in my body. So it's basically a bunch of different tappings and like movements and a whole bunch of different ways that you can get the energy flowing. These are usually good for full body releases. If you want to basically reset your entire energetic field, you can just tap every single part of your body a few times and this will get the energy reset. And you'll just feel so much lighter because whatever was stuck throughout that entire day, you're just tapping it out and having it come out. And that's closely related to Qigong and Tai Chi, not necessarily the tapping part, but moving your body in a specific way in order to basically heal the energetic body. So the next healing modality is acupuncture or acupressure. I know we don't always have access to acupuncturists, but we can't always have access to acupressure. There are these acupressure mats that you can buy, which I pretty much do every single night. I just lay on it, and it has different points on there where your body is feeling the pressure. At first it hurts, but after a while you feel really good and you start releasing this stuck energy that's within inside of you. Another modality tied in with this is massages. Massages are basically moving the physical body in order to get to the mental, in order to get to the emotional, in order to get to the energetic. So this is starting from the physical and working its way in. So whenever you have a great massage, that's because for the most part it penetrated just the physical. It went into the mental, emotional, and energetic. And this is what you want with the massages. Now, if you just get a massage and it's like, that felt good, I feel better, it's usually just the physical. It hasn't penetrated deeper into the other bodies. Now, this next one is related to nutrition, and it's all about herbs and superfoods. There are some herbs and superfoods that can give us an upper advantage on life, basically, because with nutrition, what it comes down to is you getting all of your vitamins and nutrients. Now, with the food that we get nowadays, it's hard to get all of the vitamins and nutrients that our bodies need. So what we can do is we can supplement. We can find different superfoods that will give us a boost in vitality and abundance and all of these things that we crave. Another healing modality is hypnotherapy. I know hypnotism has a negative connotation to it, but you can actually hypnotize yourself. You can use hypnotherapy to help you heal different aspects of yourself. Basically, with hypnotherapy, what you're doing is you're getting to the subconscious mind. So we have the conscious mind, and then we have a filter, and then we have the subconscious mind. What you want to do is go from the conscious mind past that filter and go into the subconscious mind. This is where hypnotherapy comes into place. It allows you to bypass the conscious mind and that filter and get into the subconscious mind. So you can hypnotize yourself to believe different things. If you want to believe something else, you can hypnotize yourself to look at things in a different way. And the next few that I'm going to go over, they are probably the deepest ones out of all of these. And they go directly to the energetic body. They start from there, works the energetics, and then cleans the emotional, the mental, and the physical. So these are probably the deepest ones that are on this list. So the first one is sound healing. Now, I know this may sound weird to some of you. Sound healing, healing with sound, how does that even work? So there are specific frequencies that we react to in a different way. So, for example, when you hear nails on a chalkboard, that's a very annoying sound, and we all know that. We're affected by it negatively. But then when you hear a nice piece of music, you have more of a calm frequency. You're more vibrating at a higher frequency. You're more relaxed, you're more at peace. So just those two sounds show us that there is a difference between the way that we're affected by different frequencies. So if we use sound therapy, this is basically what we're doing. We're playing these positive frequencies into our bodies to help us access that different aspect of ourselves, the aspect of ourselves that is capable of healing. And the next one is simply called energy healing. Some people call it Reiki or whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much energy healing. This is done by manipulating the energy field. There are people that are in tune with the energetic realm, and they're able to feel these energies, these frequencies. So now what happens is these energy healers, they tap into your energetic frequency, they tap into your energetic body, and they work on repairing that energetic body. And this is simply done without touching your physical body. They just manipulate the energetic body, which is outside of your physical body. Now, the last healing modality that I want to pass on to you is plant medicine. I left this last for a reason, is because you really got to be careful with plant medicine and psychedelics and diving into something as deep as plant medicine. Now, this isn't something you take as a party drug. This isn't something you take just for the fun of it. This is something that you take with extreme intention on what you're hoping to work on during this experience. Now, plant medicine is a healing modality that goes beyond the four bodies that I've mentioned. It goes further into the fifth, sixth, and seventh body that is more on the spiritual realm versus the physical and the energetic. Plant medicine has a very specific way of working, so you really got to be careful with this last one. The plant medicine, you got to be careful with it. The set and setting are the most important, so What are your intentions for this experience, and where are you? Who are you with? Do you feel safe in this place? You really want to have a specific ceremony when you're doing plant medicines. You don't want to just go into it and, whatever happens, happens. You want to use it intentionally. You want to set intentions before you do it. Make sure you're safe. Make sure you are feeling peaceful before you get to doing it. And yeah, be careful. So that's pretty much it. All of the healing modalities I went through, they may not all work for you. So that's why it's important to try a bunch of different ones and see what works best for you, or whatever you feel called to start with first. I know that was a lot of different healing modalities, but I did that on purpose because I want you to look up all of them and see what works for you. Again, not everything works for everybody, so what works for you, keep it. What doesn't, then don't even worry about it. So if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to take away the basics, which are just eat real food, move your body, preferably with exercise, move your body with some stretches, with yoga, and find some hobbies that involve you using your body, using your energy. And then make sure you're meditating, preferably every single day. Just take time to slow down pretty much. Also, you want to make sure you're staying out in nature. Get a lot of nature. If you're not around nature, make it a weekly thing, make it a monthly thing. The more you do it, the better it is, obviously. But if you can't even get out in nature, take your shoes off, go in your backyard, and put your bare feet on the ground. And then the last thing, make sure you are breathing through the nose. Make sure you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, versus the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight. So that's it for today. If you have any questions on these, I recommend going to Google first. But if you still have questions, feel free to message me and I'll help you in any way that I can. And if this episode was helpful to you at all, go ahead and hit that like button. Share it with somebody if you think they would benefit from it. And that's it. I'll see you on the next one.